live. Good early afternoon. I'm Andy Andrews. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special. Live here from the Wharf in Orange Beach, Alabama. Here in the financial district, we're on the skyscraper in Orange Beach. And we're just down from the escalator statues here at the Wharf. We're glad to have you here. I'm wearing my Christmas shirt, and this is going to be a good show. This is going to be a good show. This is the last one before the big day. So, Big G. Hey, buddy. George Cosser. Merry Christmas. Glad to have you. Marcy Taylor. How are you? Yeah, I know we got started a little. Why did we get started late today?
I was working on something else for a little too long.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, though. Thank you for taking responsibility.
You're welcome, anytime.
Pat you on the back for taking responsibility. Christy Woods, my sister. Hey, Christy, how you doing? Still thinking about that restaurant we were in the other night. Still figuring out what I want to do about that. Sounds like there's a story to tell, doesn't it? Oh, there is. Okay. Well, we'll just figure out whether, how to, and when. But this is the last Blue Plate Special before Christmas Day. And so we decided to just invite everybody in on it. And it's not usually Thursdays is Wisdom Harbor Day, but today we're inviting everybody. So thank you, Big G, for your comment about my fantastic Christmas shirt. Dave Larder, Merry Christmas from sunny and pleasant Phoenix. Yeah, hard to get in the Christmas spirit in Phoenix. It's beginning to look a lot like an oven. Ron Reams, hey. How are you doing? How are you doing? Dina Kilpatrick shared. Thank you, Dina. Appreciate you sharing this with your page. Tony Hines, love the shirt. Yeah, man. It's comfortable, too. Yep, I appreciate it. So today, we thought we would do lists of Christmas movies. Now, you know, everybody does a list of Christmas movies, but they come with a little bias. I have found, you know, if you have the, I don't know, if you have the, what would it be? I guess Democrats and Republicans might have a different list of favorite Christmas movies. Okay, I mean that's a good way. But Baptists and Methodists might have a different list, and so we selected 4 distinct, different kinds of groups, and I went and checked out, and I got a list. I got 5 from every list, and then I'm going to end it with my list, and then I'm also going to end the show with a very serious message to you. Okay, I've got a very important message. If you just hang around for just after we get through the funny stuff, just hang around for an extra 3 or 4 minutes. And Eva Jean Hodge, how are you from Elkin, North Carolina? Tammy Nance, hey. Robert DeGiorgio, I wish I could look as cool as Andy sporting a shirt like that. Well, Robert, I wish you could too. I just wear what my wife lays out. We're going to start, and we've got a couple of hundred people in the studio today. And again, just like we did on Tuesday, we have the hot tubs set up, and so they're all in hot tubs and drinking eggnog for the Christmas season. So you guys don't keep it too high, because you know the water will prune your fingers and toes by the end of the show. So just okay. All right, we're going to start with what Reader's Digest thinks is great Christmas movies. So we selected 5 Christmas movies from their best of list. And so these are what Reader's Digest suggests as Christmas movies. In 1989, the movie is Prancer. Have y'all heard of that?
I never heard of that one.
I mean, Sonia's nodding, but it's a sweet drama that stars Sam Elliott. Now, I like everything with Sam Elliott in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like anything with Sam. But a sweet drama starring Sam Elliott as the widowed father of a young girl who believes she's found one of Santa's reindeer. That does sound sweet. Of course, Sam Elliott carries a gun. That reindeer might end up on the wall. You know, honey, it's not Santa's. It's a trophy. It's a trophy. All right. Number 2 on the list from Reader's Digest, The Man Who Invented Christmas. Now, I got to say, I heard of this and I missed it when it came out in 2017, but I still want to see this. I just saw the previews for this and it sounds great. Dan Stevens, who was an actor in Downton Abbey, plays Charles Dickens in this. It's a biography thing about Charles Dickens, who once penned one of the most famous Christmas stories, A Christmas Carol, back in 1843. And Reader's Digest says this is fun for the whole family. And I think it'll be fun for me. I wanted to see it, and I don't know how I missed it. I don't know how I missed that when it came up, but I'm going to see it. I've got, how many days before Christmas?
4.
4. Okay, 4. Thank you. Thank you for the math.
Speaking of
4
movies.
days. What?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of movies, I had just got an email about this the other day and hadn't, comes out on Christmas Day, but I know it was a book you really liked, and the movie The Boys in the Boat is coming out.
Oh my gosh. I saw the previews for that. The Boys in the Boat. I've read the book 3 times, and I'm going to just tell you, this movie looks phenomenal. And it comes out Christmas Day. And we went and saw The Chosen Christmas the other day, and I saw the trailer for The Boys in the Boat. I was so excited, and I am still excited. We might just shut the studio down and go see that together. I mean, this is going to be great. Okay, we're on the Reader's Digest list of best Christmas movies. This is what they think is best. Here is made in 2019. I had not heard of this, but this sounds great to me. The Night Before Christmas. The Night with a K. The Night Before Christmas. A medieval knight time travels to present day, where he falls in love with a high school science teacher. Prepare for a super sweet holiday romance. That's what they say. That sounds good to me. But I like time travel.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I like time travel. All right, here you go. This is Reader's Digest list. Holiday Rush. Made in 2019. I had not heard of this. A single dad loses his lucrative radio show job right before Christmas in this touching film. His kids, used to affluence, are in for some lessons when they all downsize in this heartwarming comedy. So if you want to see a heartwarming comedy, you want to see a comedy about people losing their shirts right before Christmas, this one's for you. I'm thinking I'm going to skip that, but that's just me. All right. Also on the Reader's Digest list, and this one sounds good, but I haven't, and I've heard of it, but I missed it somehow. It was made in 2018, The Christmas Chronicles. Kurt Russell gives an inspired performance as a rock and roll Santa Claus in this popular recent hit. Goldie Hawn plays Mrs. Claus, and Reader's Digest says, set aside some time for the double feature because the kids will love this and the sequel that follows. So there's a sequel to it. So how about that? Okay, so that's the Reader's Digest list. And I think those sounded kind of Reader's Digest-y. Don't you think? Don't you think? I think so. Now, we've got the Ron Ream says, The Man Who Invented Christmas is available on Prime Video from Amazon. Good to know. Remind me about that. Shanda Danner, watching from Dothan. Say hey to Bob Woodall for me. And Carla. Say hey to Carla first, then Bob. All right, so Good Housekeeping. Now, we thought they would be good to tap to see animated specials. You know, what are the best animated specials of all time? And so it's curious seeing from these different people, you know, or different organizations, what they think the favorite Christmas thing. All right, so Good Housekeeping says 1964, and I cannot disagree with this, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Perfect. There's a reason this stop-motion animated Christmas special is a classic. It's a heartwarming lesson about embracing your imperfections. It's also narrated by Burl Ives, who you just hear his voice and you just get in the Christmas spirit. You know, I mean, Burl Ives. And I loved Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer growing up, and I still love it. I still love it. Remember when the little girl reindeer says he's cute and his nose is stopped? He goes, I'm cute, I'm cute. And I have often referenced Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in a way when filling out a place of my birth. In fact, I did this yesterday. I had to fill out a form that said place of birth, and I listed my place of birth as Island of Misfit Toys. Anyway, that sounds pretty good for me. You remember the Hermie that was not good at making toys, and remember what he wanted to be?
I do.
What?
A dentist.
I just want to be a dentist. Just want to be a dentist. And remember, isn't Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer where Burl Ives does "Have a holly jolly Christmas"? Isn't that the one?
I don't recall.
I know on that one he does silver and gold, silver and gold. I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Okay, number 2 in the list, and these are no particular order. We just grabbed off their list of animated Christmas specials from Good Housekeeping, The Polar Express. Made in 2004. Tom Hanks is at the center, stars in this, it's kind of a stop action and half animated, half real person film. Is based on the book, The Polar Express. And the movie follows this young boy who doubts Santa's existence and goes on a magical train ride to find out more about the North Pole. I saw that in the theater. The first time I saw it in 3D, and I was blown away. In fact, I think, Christy, didn't I get you and Steve to go watch that when y'all lived in Atlanta? I think I did. I was just blown away. And some people are not crazy about that movie, but I love it. Are you crazy about it?
I like it. I'm not. I don't got to watch it every year, but that is one of my favorite Christmas books.
Okay. All right, good. All right. Here's the third one from Good Housekeeping. Dr. Seuss's The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Yeah. You know, that is probably the only Christmas movie that's kind of a negative movie, but it turns positive, you know. Boris Karloff is the storyteller's voice. Remember Boris Karloff? His voice has all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile. I just love that That was "You're a Mean One," Mr. Grinch. And when Austin and Adam were little, they thought he was saying, "A sissy crocodile." So that's what we still kind of call it. It's a sissy crocodile. All right, how about Frosty the Snowman in 1969? Everybody knows the classic story of Frosty the Snowman, where Frosty comes to life thanks to a magical hat. And this is narrated by Jimmy Durante, the old vaudeville guy, and it's based on a Christmas song that every kid knows the words to by heart. I mean, everybody knows Frosty the Snowman. And remember Jimmy Durante, Frosty the Snowman. I just love that. I love that. All right, and here is perhaps the best of all time. Maybe this is the best of all. I vote this the best animated of all time. And I'm going to tell you the history of it. This is A Charlie Brown Christmas, 1965. And sometimes it feels good to be a little more thoughtful, even a little melancholy about the holidays. If you're not the type to always be in a holly jolly mood, well, neither is Charlie Brown, okay? Because in this Christmas special, he goes on this deep journey to uncover the true meaning of Christmas. And is that all that's on there?
It is.
This thing was put together when Coca-Cola is the one who sponsored this. They actually, what do you call it, commissioned it. It was going to be a Coca-Cola thing. And so they went to the producers, who went right to Charles Schulz, and they sat down with Charles Schulz. And one of the stories from that first meeting is they said, "Oh, we got to have a laugh track." And Charles Schulz said, "No, we don't," and got up and walked out of the room. And they were like, then he came back in the room, sat down, and kept going. They were like, "Okay, I guess we don't have to have a laugh track." So this thing went without a laugh track. He wanted to get real children to voice the characters, and the producers were like, "No, you can't have children. You can't depend on children." And he wanted to read from the Bible on it, and they were like, "Well, you can't read from the Bible. You know, this is television. You can't read from the Bible." And so Charles Schulz said, "If you don't read from the Bible, you ain't gonna do it with me." How about that? So they told the Christmas story, the real Christmas story. They did it with children's voices. They did it without a laugh track. And they said, "And so let's get some Christmas music, some popular music." And he said, "No, I want some like jazz so that Schroeder can play it." And they're like, "Jazz?" But Charles Schulz had a vision for this. And so the producers, they did it, and they showed it just to a small group, and the producers hated it. They hated it. And they sent it to the executives at CBS in New York, who hated it. And to this day, they're convinced that if that thing wasn't airing like next week, and they didn't have anything to put in that place, it wasn't a digital world like it is today, but they're convinced that today, if they didn't have if it wasn't like last minute, it would have never aired. And one of the animators, though, that was in the screening of it, he told the producer, he said, "You hate it?" He said, "You're wrong." He said, "This is the best Christmas special ever made. This thing's going to play for 100 years. So it aired. December 1965 on CBS, and it was an immediate hit. It was number 2 in the ratings that week to Bonanza. Bonanza was number 1, and it was number 2. And it played for 56 consecutive years on broadcast television until in 2021 America, broadcast network television executives said that will no longer air. Even though it's getting great ratings every year. And obviously it wouldn't air because of the content. So, how about that? It's not your country. They just let us live in it. Okay, let's switch gears and go to, I thought this one, we got 2 more categories. We got variety and me. All right. Now, I thought this one was incredibly interesting and incredibly informative because Variety is the entertainment magazine in Hollywood. That is the industry insiders magazine. Everybody involved in entertainment subscribes to Variety and reads it. And when Oscar time is coming out, they take out full-page ads in Variety because those are the voters for the Oscars. Variety has made careers and it's killed careers. And Variety is literally the Bible of the entertainment industry, New York and LA. And so I was curious when I was looking up specific lists from organizations about their favorite Christmas specials. Okay, or Christmas movies. So here are 5 that I selected from Variety's list. They love 1974's Black Christmas. A sorority house is terrorized by a Yuletide killer. Margot Kidder and Andrea Martin are among the co-eds terrorized by the lurking killer who slays them in creative ways, mixing bloody violence with suspense and tension.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Yeah. All right, here we go. They also list, Dan Stone says, I have a feeling that the greatest Christmas movie ever won't be making this list, Ernest Saves Christmas. I love Ernest Saves Christmas. You're right. Now it's on the list because of you, Dan. Okay, back to Variety. Variety, their second selection was made in 2003, Bad Santa. This ain't your mother's Christmas movie. Directed by Terry Zwigoff, Bad Santa stars Billy Bob Thornton as Willie T. Stokes, a foul-mouthed and alcoholic mall Santa who couldn't care less if you've been naughty or nice. Along with his sidekick Marcus, Willie plans to rob the Arizona shopping mall on Christmas Eve. That's uplifting. How about this one? Carol in 2013. Now Variety says this is the best Christmas movies ever made. Carol, 2013. This lesbian romance has quietly but swiftly risen to the rank of a Christmas classic in the years since its release. A department store clerk finds herself enamored by an unhappy married woman. Their affair must unfold in cautious, coded gestures, each hoping the other can read their desires.
Don't remember that plot on Charlie Brown.
Okay. Variety also lists as a favorite Christmas movie Edward Scissorhands, 1990. Tim Burton's dark holiday film touches upon themes including the sense of social isolation and loneliness during the festive season. Set against the backdrop of suburbia, Edward Scissorhands is a pale-faced humanoid with scissor blades for hands who is taken in by a benevolent family.
I always forget that that is a Christmas movie.
Who thinks of this stuff? All right. Is this the last one on Variety's list? All right, this is the last one on Variety's list as their favorite Christmas. And this is, and understand, there's a lot of people in New York and Los Angeles who don't feel like we feel. But I'm telling you, the people in New York and Los Angeles decide what our children see. They decide what's on TV. They decide what's on the movies. So this is Variety patting themselves on the back for another of their Christmas favorites. Was created in 2013. It's called Krampus. Krampus is the perfect horror gift, they say. Instead of Santa Claus making his way to town, one unlucky family gets a visit from Krampus, a goat-like beast from European myths that terrorizes naughty children. Watching diabolical gingerbread men, elves, and living toys torment the children is better than any Christmas present. That's what they say. Merry Christmas. I got to move out of this. This is too icky for me. All right, we're going to my list. My list. So brighten your spirits here. Let's hear it. Just dump Variety here for my list. On my list, besides Ernest Christmas, my list is Elf. 2003, Elf stars Will Ferrell as Buddy, a human raised by Santa's elves. And Buddy learns about his origins and heads to New York City to meet his biological father. Now, his elf father that has raised him is Bob Newhart. And that's just great scenes of this tiny Bob Newhart sitting in a tiny chair with this giant, because he was delivered to the wrong family. And so the elves raised him, and Buddy can't make toys, and he's too big to do everything. But Elf it's pretty funny, and it holds up. All right. Now, this is the only double that I doubled up with another list, and I put the Charlie Brown Christmas, 1965. And I already told you, the special commissioned, sponsored by Coca-Cola, was written over a period of several weeks and produced on a small budget in 6 months, casting characters. I told you all that. But I think Charlie Brown Christmas is one of my favorites too. Okay? So let's go to my third choice. My third choice is White Christmas, 1954. You remember this? Two musical stars, Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, they team up with this sister act to help their old Army general save his failing country in. This movie starts on a World War II battlefield on Christmas Eve, where Bing Crosby debuts, actually to the world, debuts the song White Christmas. And then the movie picks up as they get home, and Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye are famous entertainers, and they kind of fall for this sister act, and then they go to this inn in Vermont that doesn't have snow. And the general, their favorite general, their guy that they loved, had bought this inn, and he's going to go bankrupt because there's no snow. So they decide that they will put on a Christmas Eve show, and they'll invite all the people from that company to come in and surprise the general. And so the whole movie is about how they rehearse, and they're doing the different songs and rehearsing, and then they do the main show, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, Polly and I watch it every year. It's not the boys' favorites, but Polly and I love it. And there's a song that Bing Crosby sings to his girlfriend in the movie. His girlfriend in the movie is Rosemary Clooney, who is George Clooney's aunt. So she can't sleep, and he can't sleep, and they meet in the big living room of the inn, and he makes her a sandwich, and then he says in the Bing Crosby voice, "Oh, you know what I do when I can't sleep?" And then he sings. I'll sing a little bit of this to you in a Bing Crosby voice, so you'll get the idea. But I just love the song. I love the words of this song. It's when I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep. And I fall asleep counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I remember when I had none at all. And I fall asleep counting my blessings. That's my Bing Crosby. But I love that song. You need to hear it. If you hadn't heard it, just go on YouTube and do White Christmas, Count Your Blessings, Bing Crosby. So, anyway. All right. Now, my fourth choice for my favorite Christmas thing is not actually a movie. It's a television show. It is the Christmas episode from the Andy Griffith Show. Now, in the Andy Griffith Show lasted for 8 years. Then Mayberry RFD went for another 8 or 10. And in all that time, they did one Christmas episode. It was the first year that they did it, and it aired on December 19th, 1960. And if you haven't seen it, you have to go on YouTube and get Andy Griffith Show Christmas episode. I guess that they did that in the first year and said, it'll be downhill from here. We can't do any more Christmas episodes. Because, man, they nailed it. There's this crotchety old businessman, Ben Weaver, who owns Ben Weaver's department store. And he wants Sam Muggins locked up for Christmas because Sam made some moonshine for his family. And of course, Ben Weaver sells liquor in his store. But so Andy and Barney and Ellie and Aunt Bee and Opie, they figure out how to lock up that whole family in the jail and then have the Christmas party in the jail. And Barney plays Santa Claus. How, how, how. You know, there's a skinny Santa Claus. That's hilarious. But Ben Weaver keeps trying to get arrested because he realizes he wants to be in there. And he's this mean old Scrooge character. And And so then they hear something jangling outside the door, or outside the jail, outside the jail cell, up on the bars outside of one of the jail. And Andy goes out there, and Ben Weaver's getting up, and he's been looking in. And while Ellie was singing "Away in the Manger," he's mouthing the words to "Away in the Manger." Just imagine "Away in the Manger" being on a broadcast television. And so then Andy tells Ben Weaver, all right, come on, we've tried to, and he, when he brings him in, Ben Weaver's carrying a suitcase, and he says, Dadgum, I can't believe anybody be as ornery as you, getting himself arrested on Christmas Eve, and there, everybody in the jail's like, wow, what are you doing? You can't arrest him. And he says, well, he's just, and Ben says, well, let me see what I got here before I get in the cell, and he pulls out a thing. He says, I thought this was a shaving kit. Here, what are these? And gives a pair of roller skates to Opie, and he says, now how did this get in here? Gives a doll to the little girl, the catcher's mitt to the little boy, and gives something to Andy and Barney and Aunt Bee, and it's great. I mean, it's just great. Judy Lotus Davis says Home Alone #1 is her favorite. We like that too. It makes us laugh. Okay, but here's the #1. Here's the #1. The best of all time is A Christmas Story. In 1983, this was done. And you know the story. In the 1940s, a young boy named Ralphie Parker attempts to convince his parents, teacher, and Santa Claus that a BB gun is really the perfect gift. A Red Ryder BB gun rangefinder with a compass in the stock and a thing that tells time. And everybody says, you put your eye out, kid. But that movie holds up so well for me. I love that. That's my favorite Christmas movie. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. It's this movie came from a book written by Gene Shepard, and the book was "In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash," and it was just a little piece in that book, but they took it and made this whole movie about it. And Gene Shepard is the voice in the film that's narrating this, and so it's like he is Ralphie grown up, and he's like, if you remember the show The Wonder Years really got their groove from A Christmas Story, because it's an adult. You're watching the child and you're hearing what the child says, but you're listening to the adult talk about what he was thinking when he was saying all that. And so there's so many moments in A Christmas Story. It's just, if you haven't ever watched it, and when that movie came out, and they made a huge mistake, because the movie did nothing at the box office. And I think it was their own marketing efforts that did it, because the commercial for the thing showed the kid with the Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus going, ho, 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 and the kid, is scared, and the kid gets on the slide, and Santa pushes him down with his foot. You'll put your eye out, kid. And that was what they put out as the trailer for the movie. Well, I saw that, and I thought, this is horrible. I'm not going to watch that. But I had a friend who insisted that I go see it. Saw it in the theater. There weren't 5 people in the theater. And I laughed myself to death with only 5 people in that theater. And I've probably seen it 30 times since, I guess. And just laugh every time. We say the lines along with the movie. And it's just a great movie. If you haven't ever seen it, do that one. Okay.
You know,
All
this
right.
is the first year that I've put together what year that movie came out in, and even seeing the other actors from it, I just never really gave it much thought. But growing up, I could tell that it looked like it was probably like 40s, 50s, something like that, kind of the setting. And then I knew that movie came out before I was alive. Like I literally thought that movie came out in like late 60s or the 70s, and I was shocked to see that it was 83. But
Yeah, 83. And
yeah.
it was about the 40s. It was
Yeah.
set in the 40s.
So I think that's what got me, and I just saw it so much as a kid. I see it now, and I don't even think about it because it's just like,
I've been to the house.
that's cool.
I went to the house in Cleveland. I was in Cleveland, and I was speaking, and I was sick, and I had to get a cab to take me to a doctor's office. And I was coming back from the doctor's office, and the guy said, "You know anywhere else you need to go?" And I said, "Well, I need to go to the pharmacy, and if you have any idea where the house is they shot A Christmas Story, I'd love to see that." He said, "That's right on the way." I was like, "You gotta be kidding." And so we went. I got my picture taken in front of the house.
Wow. Don't you have a similar lamp from that movie?
I do. Yeah, we do. We have the major award. So did Christy and Steve. We have it up in our in the tall part of our house, and Christy and Steve have it outside in their door. The leg lamp that the dad won is a major award, and it's a major award. And the mother breaks it. "You did that on purpose." It's just great. What a funny movie. So you have to see it if you haven't. Okay, let me transition to a message I got for you. And and if you don't mind sticking around for 5 minutes while I deliver this message, I would appreciate it. Not really a funny message, but probably an interesting message to you. And I'm going to send this out today on email. And it's a longer message than I usually send on email, but this is of critical importance to me and maybe to you as well. So if you possibly can, look for the email, maybe share it with somebody. And in a minute, I'm going to ask you to do something. But first, allow me to explain why I have summoned the audacity to even ask. Okay? So here goes. Am I wrong to assume that you believe, as I do, that America's in big trouble? And how crazy is it that we have witnessed an extremely slow rise and fall to end up here? If we track America from 1776, how in the heck for 165 years did the citizens of this nation lift their chins and struggle, paying attention to increasing the personal character level of their citizenry, a rise that peaked in the 1940s with those we call the Greatest Generation? How did that happen? Only to watch our national character disharmoniously decline in the 80 years ever since. Now, I got to admit that after a lot of thought, I no longer feel that those people we venerate as the Greatest Generation truly deserve that level, that label. Instead, I have come to believe that the Greatest Generation was made up of their mothers and fathers. That the real Greatest Generation was their teachers, their ministers, their moms and dads, the adults in a society who raised a generation of people that after nearly a century has passed, we still point to them and say, that's the best we ever were. So what did they do? By what standard did those people raise those children of that time? One thing is clear, there was actually a standard. After all, a society that accepts many standards is a society without a standard. Curiously, the standard by which that generation raised those children, that standard did not exist because the adults agreed about everything. You have to remember that in the 1920s and 1930s, those parents and grandparents were Democrats and Republicans too. They were Christians and atheists too. They were Jews and Muslims and Baptists and Methodists and Catholics too. They were black and white and red and yellow, and they didn't agree on much more than we do today. But they did manage to agree on one thing. They managed to agree that they wanted the best for their kids. Not what somebody thought might be the best, but the actual best, the very best. And they worked together, sometimes agreeing to disagree about things that were not as important as their children. They managed to work together and make it happen. So how did it happen, you ask? What did they do? Well, it wasn't so much what they did, it was who they were. These were people of high character, and they knew instinctively that if they were to raise children of higher character, it would require strong relationships between the adults and young people. Now, strong relationships can only be forged through conversations. Therefore, one can point to many conversations between adults and young people that built character at that time. There's also the fact that young people had many opportunities to sit quietly listening to adults in conversation. There was a time when I grew up, we wanted to sit at the big table. We wanted to be with the adults. Do you remember what our mother said? You can stay as long as you're quiet, but if you call attention to yourself, you're going to bed. So we would sit quietly and listen, and sometimes we would become aware that, hey, they've forgotten we're in here, because they'd talk about things we didn't ordinarily hear. When we went on a trip in the car, we would sit in the back seat and listen to the adult conversations. Or on the porch with our parents as they chatted with everybody who came by. Everybody who came by that front porch. In that situation, we watched our parents and our grandparents in conversations with people that we knew they disagreed with. And they were in conversations that we watched with some folks that we knew they didn't particularly like. At least a couple of generations ago, these conversations between adults and young people stopped. In addition, any conversations by adults to which the children had the opportunity to listen were taken out of the mix. Mothers began approaching the big table at dinner time with the pronouncement that all the kids are in the playroom. The door's closed, they have their food, a movie's on. I told them if anybody comes out, they're going to bed. On car trips, children no longer listen to or participate in conversations with adults. Here, put your headphones on. You have your screen. We'll be at Grandma's in 3 hours. Then you can go off by yourself and play with your Game Boy. There are no more front porches. We've all retreated to our backyards with privacy fences where we can invite the people we like and with whom we agree. We've created at least 2 generations of young people who, for the most part, don't know how to look somebody in the eye, shake hands, and have a conversation. Do you have any idea how many parents tell me, we don't talk anymore? I usually reply, I'll say, well, give me an example of a typical conversation. And this is what I hear. How did school go today? Fine. Good. What all happened? Nothing. Well, come on now, something happened. You were there for 7 hours. Mom, nothing happened, okay? Just like yesterday, nothing happened. And at that point, parents tell me when the young person walks away, they can chase them down and have an argument or just leave them alone. Either choice ends in that perpetual silence between adults and young people that has become the norm. And why wouldn't it? We don't have anything in common anymore. You say Little League sports we have in common? Really? What meaningful conversations happen taking a carload of kids to practice? Or what meaningful conversations happen with you sitting in the bleachers while they're on the field? We don't discuss television anymore. We don't even watch it together. Remember when you grew up how you enjoyed some of the same shows your parents watched? How's that compare to now? Do you want to watch the programs your children watch? You probably don't even allow them to watch what you watch. Heck, even the commercials can be off limits. What are families discussing at the dinner table? If you even eat at the dinner table with your family in today's world, you are the exception. So what can be done to reverse a tide that has quite obviously already washed ashore? As incredible as it may seem, there does now exist an answer. WisdomHarbor.com is an exciting, low-cost streaming service designed with this specific intent: to create the next greatest generation, starting right now with your family, your hometown, and your local schools. This concept has been in my heart for 12 years. I've been paying for it to be constructed and staffed for 5 years, and now Wisdom Harbor has been live for 2 years. We have not even done a press release because we've been proving Wisdom Harbor's value to school systems, businesses, families, and individuals for 2 years. Wisdom Harbor was created to generate conversations between adults and young people by bonding them with video, audio, and written word shorts that greatly interest both groups. And its annual price is set as low as we can possibly set it and still remain in business. In schools, for less than $3 a month per teacher, classrooms have access to original content only found on wisdomharbor.com that teaches history, science, biology, civics, economics, English, literature, creative writing, culinary skills, music, and manners, while entertaining and building character in young people, and at the same time creating conversations between young people and the adults in their community. Who are Wisdom Harbor's instructors? Well, utilizing video, audio, and the written word, content is delivered in small bites by Grammy winners, CEOs, comedians, chefs, best-selling authors, and Hall of Fame speakers. There are even guitar lessons from an award-winning songwriter. The results Wisdom Harbor has been achieving with schools are almost beyond belief. And within several months, we will deliver some statistics to you detailing what has happened. Family results are also pouring in. For now, though, here is my earnest plea to you. If your family has not already joined, please give this as a gift to them this year. You can watch a 5 or 6 minute piece before dinner every night if you wish and enjoy the conversation that spills forth because of it. If you have extended family or friends this sounds right for, or the people you'd like to be connected with in meaningful conversations, please consider giving this inexpensive gift to them. So there's a link that we'll have at this message, and the email that's going to come to you this afternoon is going to have 4 examples that you can go on and see. Wisdom Harbor has more than 20 different docs, and we just selected 4 random things that you can see just to kind of see what it's about. But thank you for your patience with this long message and the one that's coming this afternoon. I hope you have the merriest of Christmases. One more thing. If you're interested in providing wisdomharbor.com for a school, let us know. There are many schools in America who are either underfunded or they're funded for things that aren't working. There's a 501c3 that's called the Wisdom Harbor Educational Fund that's ready and able to assist you. And if you wish, you can even designate the school or schools that would benefit from your generosity. So thank you for listening. You guys have a great Christmas. Be safe. Love on your families. Be kind to yourselves. And know how much I love you. Bye-bye.